Alright, I did not do a video in February, and that's because I read 4 books, I hated 3 of them, and one was just okay, and I didn't want to do a negative video, alright? So, I pulled aside some books, and I was like, I think I'll like all of these. I'll read these in March. Then I'll have this video where I only hate like 3 books, I'll have a million awesome ones to talk about. Did not happen. I read 5 books in March. The last 2 that I read were like the 2 of the best books I've ever read. But we've got 9 books total here. I like the last 2. I dislike 6 of them, and one of them's just okay. So, I'll try not to be too negative. But we're starting off with The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. So, I've talked about East of Eden before. I really like East of Eden. It's a great book. And I've been wanting to read more of the classics. So I decided, you know what, I'll read Grapes of Wrath. And I hated this book. I actually, you know what, it's got a great, maybe let's call it like opening third of the book. A quarter to a third maybe of the opening of this book is actually a pretty interesting setup. Then it gets really boring. It follows this family and nothing happens. I think maybe kind of, sort of, a little bit, I might kind of understand maybe a little bit of what John Steinbeck's, what he was going for with this, but I just didn't like it. And the sad part is, there are these chapters, these little kind of like snippets, I don't know, with random side characters. I don't even think all of them have names, and they take place at like, I don't know, like at diners and stuff. And these like random little chapters with random people across America, oh my god, those little chapters, the best part of the book. I'm actually upset because the book has a great opening. It's got these awesome little snippets. I wish the whole book was like those little kind of snippet kind of chapters, really. There's even one about like a turtle that's like on its back. Like, that was an amazing chapter. That one's pretty early on. But when it becomes, instead of one guy's story, and it becomes his whole family and all they're doing is just traveling and being boring, I lost my mind. I ended up listening to the second half of this on an audiobook. It's on Spotify. I put it on 1.5 speed. I laid down and I shut my eyes and I just listened to the second half of this book. The thing is, if I have to put on the audiobook, you've lost me. There's 2 kinds of books where I don't quite finish them. If I don't like a book, and I just can't finish it, I'll just toss it aside. I won't finish it. There's a few that if I don't like it, I'll maybe speed read, kind of skim, get to the end, just see how it ends, or I'll put on an audiobook. For me, you know, I don't like to scroll a lot. I don't like to go on my phone a lot. I have a TikTok account, but I never use it. For me, scrolling is really going on Twitter or YouTube, or you know, sometimes I just like to lay down and just watch Curb Your Enthusiasm. But I'd always rather just be reading a book or going out and doing something or watching a movie. I don't like to really like be like logged into the internet all the time. I'm really not somebody that, like, my idea of free time and relaxing is not like I'm just gonna scroll all day. Maybe like, I don't know, half an hour before bed, yeah, I'll be like scrolling, and that'll be like my daily little brain rot time. Maybe, but you know, the thing is I prefer to read, is what I'm trying to say. And if a book is just not good and I find myself just going, oh, why don't I scroll? Why don't I watch a YouTube video instead? Why don't I go on Twitter and scroll for an hour and lose track of time, or go on Facebook? I don't know. Like, once a book is like that bad where I'm going on social media instead of reading, like, it's lost me. So yeah, this book just really lost me, but I was just curious to see how it ends because, like I said, I do want to read more classics, and I did like East of Eden, so I don't know, I wanted to get to the end. I probably will read more John Steinbeck. I've got a collected edition somewhere around here with all his like shorter novels in it. Oh no, I did read one other John Steinbeck. I did read Of Mice and Men, so I read two. Completely forgot. Alright. Next book. So, after, I think I might have said this before, but I kind of go in like bursts with what I read. For the longest time, I only read fiction, didn't read nonfiction. Maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, I just started reading nonfiction. I was like, I like this a lot, and I was just like on a big nonfiction kick. And these days, it's kind of, I'll go a little back and forth. Still maybe a little bit more on the nonfiction side, but I'll read nonfiction till I read like a bad nonfiction book, and then I'll read fiction till I read like a bad fiction book and go back and forth. Or if I just get bored of fiction or nonfiction, I'll go for the other one. So that was so bad. I kind of looked for something that maybe I'll enjoy. And personally, I was having some problems with writing, and so I grabbed this book off my shelves called The Anatomy of Story by John Truby. 22 Steps to Becoming a Master Storyteller. And it's not a bad book, and I think the advice in it is helpful, but it did not have to be, let's see, it's 419 pages, not counting like the little index at the end. It's over 400 pages. And I don't know, sometimes it just lost me. Sometimes I was like, I don't even know what he's talking about. There was good advice in it. I mean, it's certainly not bad. I honestly, I don't know. Like, I'm torn. Because there were parts in it where I was like, this is good, and then he just loses me. There'll be like 2 pages where I'm like, okay, now it's picking, and then it just gets so boring. But I won't spend a lot of time on that book. I don't know. Now we're at the book that was alright. And that's The Devil and Sherlock Holmes by David Grann. I really liked his other books, Killers of the Flower Moon. I haven't shut up about it since I read it. And his new book, The Wager. I like that one as well. This one was good, but it's a collection of how many things are in here. These are all like kind of, I guess, well, the subtitle's Tales of Murder, Madness, and Obsession, but it's basically just like weird kind of strange things. Let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, there's like 12 stories in here. Most of them were fine. I think my favorite one would probably have to be the very first one, which is about this Sherlock Holmes fan, and I don't think I've read any Sherlock Holmes or even seen any of the movies for that matter, but this guy's obsessed with Sherlock Holmes, and he's murdered, and there's all these like strange circumstances, and let me take a sip of water, I'm sorry. And yeah, nobody knows what happened, and there's like 45 pages about that, something like that in here. That one's really cool. Some of the others, I gotta tell you guys, the next one is about this guy that his kids like died in a fire, and he clearly did not. He was not the person that killed them. It was obviously an accident by all the evidence. But they're like, well, he has tattoos. He must be the killer. They were literally. They're like, well, he likes rock and roll. He must have sacrificed them to Satan. That one was unhinged, and these are all true stories, by the way. Some of these not so interesting. Like something about the water in New York. The very last one in here I didn't like. Yeah, some of these were okay. I mean, it wasn't a bad book. It was all right. I would definitely. I would say if you like his other books, I would recommend it. I wouldn't say start with this book if you haven't read David Grann, but it was all right. Some of the stories were pretty cool. Others were not. That's basically how it goes with a collection. But yeah, this is the only one that, from the first 7, that's the only one where I was like, yeah, I liked it. It was all right. Like, that's probably the only one I'm keeping from these first 7. I'm probably going to sell all these others. Oh, man. This one was... I wanted to like this one so much. Less Than Zero by Bret Easton Ellis. So, I like American Psycho, the movie. I saw the movie years ago. I really like it. And recently I watched The Rules of Attraction, which is also based on a Bret Easton Ellis book. And I started listening to his podcast, and his podcast is pretty cool. I listened to it at the gym. And I was like, I'll finally read some Bret Easton Ellis. I had a copy of American Psycho, but never read it. And I was like, you know what? Some of these characters appear in some of the other books. I'll go in order. I'll read Bret Easton Ellis in order. So I grabbed Less Than Zero, and I did not like it. The writing style is fine. I think I read most of this in a day. It's not a very long book. It barely reaches like 200 pages, I think. The only problem is nothing happens. So Bret Easton Ellis on his podcast, I've heard him say before that he thinks the only thing that matters in a book is the writing style. That it's not necessarily about the plot. It's about the writing style and do they have a voice. I just can't help but disagree with that. I mean, having a voice is cool. You know, certainly you don't want to open up a book and the writer can't write. Of course you want to read something that's well written, but there has to be a story there. I don't care how much style a writer has. That does nothing for me. I'm really interested in the story. And I think people, from what I understand, there are people that don't like Less Than Zero because the characters aren't likable. To me, that's never been a big deal. I don't care if the characters are likable or if they're all bad people. I don't care if they're bad or good. I really don't care. I care if the story's interesting. This story is just a bunch of people just walking around talking and doing nothing. I kept waiting for something to happen and nothing happened. So I think his second book is Rules of Attraction. I ordered it on Amazon. Amazon wanted like 3 weeks to get it to me, so I was like, I don't have to go in order. I'll read American Psycho. American Psycho, well, I can't say I was a fan of it. But it's not for any of the cringy complaints of, there's violence, and Patrick Bateman's evil. It's nothing like that. I couldn't care less about violence in a book. It's just, there's so much nothing between the story. You know, I like books that get to the point. I don't like when they meander too much. And, I mean, let's see, this book's like 400 pages, right? There's probably like 30 pages of story in 400 pages. I get it. It's funny, haha, when he describes for like page after page, with no paragraph breaks, what everybody is wearing and his morning routine and all that stuff. I get it. But you know, like in the movie when he talks about Genesis or one of these bands, and he'll have a couple lines to say about the band, like about this album or whatever. You know, it's like 2 seconds in the movie. There's like 10 pages where he'll talk about an album. To nobody. It'll just be like 10 pages just for the reader. You know? Like nothing's really happening. So, I love the movie American Psycho. I don't like the book at all. My copy of Rules of Attraction did come the other day. I did not read it. I don't know when I'm going to give it a shot. I don't know. But I really, after that, so I read those 2 Bret Easton Ellis books, and I was like, something nonfiction? I don't know. So I grabbed this book. I think I've had it for a while, called Creativity Inc. by Ed Catmull. And this is about Pixar, and I can't remember why I even bought this book, because I don't like kids' movies, but I think probably just because it was about creativity in movies, and I kind of dig books like that, if I could find a good one. I mean, they can't all be the 2 William Goldman books, Adventures in the Screen Trade and More Adventures in the Screen Trade. But this book, oh my god, I just it just oh my god, how do I even want to describe this? You ever get at work, like, you ever either get like a letter from corporate, or you talk to somebody from corporate and it's all just corporate jargon, it's meaningless, it's just filled with boilerplate stuff. Now imagine reading how many, it's like 430 pages. Yeah, like 431 pages, and it gets into acknowledgments and an index. Yeah, imagine that for 430 pages. I just, I did not dig this book whatsoever. I don't know. There was no, I feel there wasn't very much, like, if you're like me and you're a writer, there's not really anything to get out of this book. If you're just a fan of these movies in general, maybe, I don't know, maybe you could get something out of this, but I got nothing out of it. And I just, pardon me guys, my throat's a little dry. I'm just getting over being sick, so. He, I don't know, he does the thing where, like, he does, like, the cool thing to do these days, which is, you gotta apologize for the whole history of your company. So, he just randomly, like, in the middle of this book, just starts apologizing, saying, I'm sorry we didn't hire women 50 years ago. I promise we're not sexist. I promise you we're not racist. Please love us because now we hire these demographics. And whenever you start boasting about that and also apologizing, it never comes off as genuine. Anyone that brags about that instead of just letting the work speak for itself, it's just never genuine in my opinion. You could hire whoever, make stories about whatever, any demographics you want. But whenever you go on, like, the apology tour, I don't know. It did not work for me. So, last book to complain about before we get to the two good ones. That's this book called The Collector. Now, I always heard this was a classic. Maybe I'll read you guys, like, the first paragraph or, like, the first couple lines, because it was actually, they had me there in the first couple pages. I was like, oh, all right, and then it drops the ball quick. When she was home from her boarding school, I used to see her almost every day sometimes, because their house was right opposite the town hall annex. She and her younger sister used to go in and out a lot, often with young men, which of course I didn't like. When I had a free moment from the files and ledgers, I stood by the window and used to look down over the road, over the frosting, and sometimes I'd see her. In the evening, I marked it in my observation diary, at first with X, and when I knew her name with M. That's like half of the first paragraph. I don't know, it was interesting. I was, alright, this guy's a weirdo, he's obsessed. And this became the worst thriller, if you could even call it that. It's a thrill-less thriller. There's no thrills in it. It's 250 pages. Complete garbage. I don't know how anyone liked this book. The first, I think, 110 pages or so. Something like that. I think 108 pages. That's part one. And it's from this guy's point of view. I can't even remember his name. I think it's on the back cover somewhere. Whatever. The kidnapper. Well, we'll just call him the kidnapper. The kidnapper is just a loser. He does nothing. Let me start over a little bit. Basically, the guy, he stalks her. He wins the lottery. Buys a house and a mansion in the middle of nowhere. Makes some little secret room in the basement. He kidnaps her, puts her down in the room, and they talk for 108 pages. That's it. There's nothing. No thrills. No deception. No torture. Nothing. Nothing. He's like, I like you. I want to talk to you. Yeah, you're my obsession. And I don't know, everybody's like, oh my god, it's such a dark book for like 1962. No, it's a dumb book for any year. Because nothing happens. There's one time where she hits him with an axe on the head, and then he goes, good thing it was dull and not sharpened, because I used it so much on stuff, and so it didn't kill me, it only made a little cut. I just about threw it across the room. So, this is one of those examples where, no, I did not read the whole middle, because you get this huge chunk in the middle, which is from the girl's point of view. Now, when it goes to her point of view, you might be thinking, his point of view ends at this point in the story, and then all the new events are from her point of view. No, it doesn't go that way at all. It starts over again from page 1. From, well, a little further than page 1. From right when she gets kidnapped. So, you see all the events over again from her point of view with nothing new offered ever. You get the conversations over again. You get her... The only new things are she thinks about her past life a little bit from before she got kidnapped, but there was nothing new, nothing of value there. So you get the same book twice over before you get to page 237. So you get less than 20 pages at the end, back in his point of view. And it's just, I don't know, nothing interesting. Nothing. There's just nothing in this book that interested me. I kept hoping. The only reason I didn't drop it after like 50 pages is because everyone was like, it's so crazy, it's incredible. But no, it was awful, actually. So, that brings us to 2 amazing books that I've had for years and never read. And I don't know why. I don't know why I never read these. I don't even know why I bought them. The only thing I could think is I kind of got these during a phase where I was reading a lot of like pulp, noir, detective kind of stuff. And I read that for a while. I think I went back to horror novels for a little bit. And then I think I went into nonfiction after that. And I just did not really go back to pulp in like 3 years. So, I read The Killer Inside Me by Jim Thompson. Jim Thompson wrote a couple scripts for a couple early Stanley Kubrick movies, and they are amazing scripts. The Killing, fantastic movie, amazing movie. I love The Killing. But he also wrote like 30 novels, and these 2 were so good, I just bought 5 more on Amazon. So we've got The Killer Inside Me. Oh my god. What to even say? Pardon me, guys. I don't even know if I can say anything about this other than it was incredible. It was dark. It was just really cool. I don't know. It's just like bananas. Stephen King has a foreword in this book, and I don't know. He kind of just sums it up really well in somewhere in here. I don't know. I don't remember where it was. I'm not going to look for it. It's like 10 pages. But basically, Jim Thompson just does not hold back, does not care, and I don't know. The book's just really cool. I think I'm underselling it, really. I don't know what to say. It's just so good, and I don't want to spoil it. All I could say is this is just one of the top books I ever read, The Killer Inside Me. Then, I read The Getaway by Jim Thompson. Again, I was blown away. It's such a good novel about... this one I could probably talk a little bit more about, because with The Killer Inside Me, there's like 50 things going on. It's not an easy plot to summarize. But with The Getaway, I could summarize it a little bit. There's a getaway. There's a bank robbery, and everybody betrays everybody. Everybody's trying to kill everybody. Everybody's on the run. It's just real crazy. And the ending is so bleak. The ending's insane. And after I finished reading The Getaway, I watched the movie. And the movie is pretty good. Except the movie gave a happy ending. I'll just let you know that you're getting like a crazy ending with the book. It's not so happy like in the movie. That's not really a spoiler. Because I think that's actually a pretty popular thing everybody says about the Getaway. That's something I already knew going into The Getaway was the ending is so bleak, bro. And it was actually, it actually really was. So that's that's everything, guys. Sorry, my throat's a little sore after all the talking. You might have noticed, but I'm just getting over being sick. I had a sore throat for like a week. This is the first day I feel better, and now I'm just doing all this talking, and I have not talked for like a week. But that's the video. Next month, I'm sure I'll have a bunch more Jim Thompson to talk about. I don't know what else. We'll see. Thank y'all for watching, everybody.